What happens if a solar storm hit Earth in 2024? The sun is currently emitting colossal bursts of energy aimed directly at Earth. And if these bursts, known as solar storms, reach our planet, the repercussions could be catastrophic. Imagine power grids failing, communication systems crashing, and modern society regressing to a state resembling the Stone Age, all due to a formidable solar storm. But what grants these solar phenomena such destructive power? How could an event like this unfold in 2024? And what makes them so hazardous? Let's delve into these questions and explore what would happen if a solar storm were to hit Earth in 2024. Solar storms originate from a natural process involving our sun called the solar cycle. This cycle spans approximately 11 years, during which the sun's activity fluctuates between periods of high and low intensity. Initially, the cycle begins with a small number of sunspots, regions of intense magnetic activity, appearing on the sun's surface. As the cycle progresses, these sunspots multiply, peaking around the midpoint with between 100 and 200 sunspots. The activity then diminishes over the following years, marking the end of the cycle and the beginning of the next. Currently, we are in the 25th solar cycle since systematic tracking began in 1755. Forecasts indicate that sunspot activity will reach its zenith in 2024, heightening the likelihood of solar storms. But what exactly are sunspots, and how do they relate to solar flares and storms? Understanding sunspots and solar flares. Sunspots are cooler, darker areas on the sun's surface caused by concentrated magnetic fields. These fields can become twisted and entangled due to the sun's rotation and convection currents. When they suddenly snap and realign, they release tremendous energy, manifesting as solar flares. Solar flares are bursts of radiation and high-energy particles capable of reaching Earth and causing significant disruptions. These flares, although associated with sunspots, are indirect outcomes of the intense magnetic activity concentrated in these areas. The immediate effects on Earth. Should a solar storm occur, the initial impact on Earth may not be immediately evident. The high-energy particles and radiation take a few minutes to reach us. During this brief window, you might want to quickly finish any crucial online activities, because once the storm strikes, life could change dramatically. The first visible sign of a solar storm would be the appearance of more frequent and widespread auroras, or northern and southern lights, caused by the interaction of solar particles with Earth's atmosphere. While these auroras offer a spectacular visual display, they herald a series of adverse effects, disruptions to technology and communications. A solar storm's impact on Earth's geomagnetic field would wreak havoc on modern technology. Satellites, GPS systems, and radio transmissions would experience severe interference, making them unreliable. Your smartphone could lose its signal entirely, and global communication networks would face significant disruptions. However, the true scale of a solar storm extends beyond mere communication problems. Solar storms can consist of multiple waves of solar flares and energetic particles, culminating in a phenomenon called a coronal mass ejection, CME. CMEs are immense bursts of solar plasma and magnetic fields launched into space, and when directed at Earth, they can induce powerful geomagnetic storms that distort Earth's magnetic field. The impact on astronauts and space operations. Astronauts in space would face even graver dangers. The intense solar radiation from a storm could be life-threatening, exposing them to harmful levels of radiation. Without adequate shielding, astronauts risk developing acute radiation sickness, and potentially long-term health issues, such as cancer. Communication between spacecraft and mission control would be compromised, further endangering the crew's safety. The day after effects of a solar storm. In the days following a solar storm, the situation on Earth could worsen. Another burst from the sun, specifically a CME, could target Earth, exacerbating the crisis. CMEs are more potent than regular solar flares and can trigger violent geomagnetic storms, amplifying the damage to technology and infrastructure. To understand the potential consequences, consider the Carrington event of 1859, the most powerful solar storm on record. This storm disrupted telegraph systems, causing some to catch fire and rendering communications inoperative. Although society quickly recovered due to the relatively simple technology of the time, a similar event today would have far more devastating effects. Our reliance on complex technology means that a solar storm of the magnitude of the Carrington event could lead to a global blackout. The electromagnetic radiation from the storm could incapacitate power grids, halt communications, and disrupt essential services. The electronic transactions we depend on, such as using credit cards for purchases, would become impossible. A widespread blackout would also jeopardize transportation systems. Airplanes could lose communication with air traffic control, risking disorientation, or, in severe cases, mechanical failures due to the high radiation levels. Trains and subways might stop operating mid-journey, leading to chaos and potentially fatal accidents. Hospitals, too, would be critically affected. With no power, life-saving medical equipment would fail, compromising patient care and potentially resulting in significant loss of life. The extent of the disruption would depend on the storm's intensity and the preparedness of our infrastructure to withstand such an event. Long-term recovery from a solar storm. Even if the solar storm subsides after a few days, the recovery process would be prolonged and arduous. Rebuilding power grids and restoring communication systems could take weeks or even months. The dependency on global supply chains for replacement parts and the breakdown in communication would further delay recovery efforts. During this period, society would face numerous challenges. Daily life, reliant on digital technology, would come to a standstill. Coordination of relief efforts would be hampered by the lack of communication, and the global economy could suffer significant setbacks due to interrupted trade and services. Preparing for potential solar storms. While the likelihood of a solar storm striking Earth remains uncertain, the increasing frequency of sunspots in the current solar cycle necessitates vigilance. Modern technology, though more advanced and resilient than in the past, remains vulnerable to solar phenomena. Efforts to mitigate the impact include enhancing the robustness of communication networks and power grids against electromagnetic interference. NASA and other space agencies are developing predictive technologies to provide early warnings of incoming solar flares and CMEs, giving us precious time to prepare. On an individual level, you can take measures to safeguard against a solar storm. Keeping an emergency kit stocked with essential supplies, such as non-perishable food, water, and first aid materials, is crucial. Investing in surge protectors for electronic devices and considering backup power sources, such as generators or solar panels, can provide temporary relief during a power outage. Reflecting on the impact of solar storms. In summary, a solar storm has the potential to disrupt life on Earth profoundly, from affecting modern technology to posing serious risks to human health. The interplay between the sun's activity and our planet's geomagnetic field underscores the fragility of our technological infrastructure in the face of natural cosmic events. While we may not be able to prevent solar storms, understanding their mechanisms and preparing for their possible impacts can mitigate the damage. The resilience of human society will be tested, but history has shown our capacity to recover and adapt in the face of adversity. As we continue to study and monitor solar activity, the hope is that advancements in technology and preparedness will allow us to face solar storms with greater confidence and resilience. However, the possibility of encountering unprecedented challenges from space reminds us of the dynamic and sometimes unpredictable nature of our solar system. Should a solar storm hit Earth in 2024, it would be a significant test of our preparedness and adaptability, potentially leaving a lasting impact on our technological society. But through careful planning and a proactive approach, humanity can weather the storm and emerge stronger, ready to face future challenges from our ever-changing cosmos. That's all the information that we have for you today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you never miss out on future episodes. And be sure to also tell us what you think about today's content. Everyone's support motivates us to continue delivering quality content and to always improve. As always, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.